Hey everyone! You know, Kidder Music Service is one of the greatest assets to our school district. From providing day-to-day materials like reeds and valve oil, to purchasing pieces of sound and instrumental equipment, there isn't anything they can't do. Kidder Music Service helps our students sound the best they can each and every day, and we are proud to call them a Music in the Making sponsor. If you are looking for similar materials for your school, don't hesitate to call and ask for assistance and mention us, Music in the Making, today. Their number is 309-692-4040, or visit kiddermusic.com, that's Kidder music.com today for all your music classroom needs. And now, on to the podcast. Welcome to Music in the Making.
That's illegal.
I want to be with you everywhere. A Halloween party. Oh, that's fun. Let's talk about work.
Not what I said.
Well, and I like Stanridge, so it's like I kind of.
Oh, you guys are friends?
Yeah,
guys
I talked
are
to him. Yeah, we talked
to him
we
last week.
A whole 5 minutes at Midwest last year. We are 3 high school and junior high music teachers from West Central Illinois.
And someone had to go to the bathroom during intermission and missed it. And that someone is me.
Yeah! Each week we will talk about our experiences in the classroom, community, and personal lives too. Please welcome your hosts, Lisa Hallen.
We say move all this stuff down there, and then it gets moved, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why have we moved that from there to there to there? Stop recording.
Art Martinez. Happy Friday if it's not a Friday, or Saturday or Sunday, or if you're Lisa, it's a week later. And Kevin Ferry.
Oh, what you're talking about.
During class.
All right, guys, sorry.
Oh, no,
you're
good.
fine.
You're good. I was
My-
like,
we've
My
been-
once a year reunion.
We've been recording for 5 minutes. It's all good.
stop. I'm not recording for that long.
Bonus content. You know?
Yeah, that's right. Welcome back to another episode of Music in the Making. Guys, this is part 100 of our episodes here at IMEC. But this has been such a good time, such a good year.
Sorry I missed this morning. I can't wait to listen to it. I hope Madeline knows how much I thought they did great yesterday. So
No, seriously, they really did really great.
yeah, 8:30 was just a little early this morning.
It's a little early for a lot of us.
Yeah, 8:30 was early. I didn't quite make that, but
That's okay. But
joining us
don't
today.
Worry, we shouted you out just really quick. We shouted it out a couple times, so you have to go listen for it. But
I will listen to it. You guys were making fun of me, probably.
But no, today we have absolutely special guest. Someone who not only wrote into the podcast, but this is your first time on.
Yes.
We have my.
Sorry. Continue.
Oh
You
my
don't need me.
gosh. Okay, sure.
Hold up.
Wesley Anderson from ROWVA. So welcome, Wesley.
Thanks for having me.
I would say we have
We're just hit
we've definitely
record on the
mentioned about
podcast.
ROWVA tons of times on this
We are in
program. We see
we're doing
them
it
at
right
piano
now.
competitions, and we see you guys at
They did
contests.
Madeline
So
right now. We're doing what?
we have all the good
Your
things.
boyfriend?
So you had written in,
Yeah. In the hotel
emailed us, I should say.
lobby area.
Just really gonna have this
Come on
phone
in.
call right now. Is that Caitlin?
We just started.
Hi, Caitlin, or whoever that is.
We'll give you a grand introduction.
You're technically on the podcast right now.
All right, get over here. Bye.
Think about a live show, guys.
Sorry,
It
bud.
quite literally is live.
Is this a
She
live show?
invited herself.
Oh, lovely.
Oh,
Well, I hope
good.
she's ready for the grilling of culture over content.
Culture over.
Culture, then content.
Ben content. Oh,
Oh, not over.
sorry.
No,
yeah.
definitely not over content. I don't
Okay,
think
well,
my
I don't
principal
know.
would appreciate that.
This is true. But they hear the word culture and they're like, oh, okay, it's a buzzword or whatever you call it. But anyway, so Wesley from ROWVA, welcome. We appreciate you emailing us, and you actually gave us a couple other ideas that we'll whether we get to today or just have you on again talk about. This culture then content, kind of interesting. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself first, since it's your first time on, and then we'll kind of dive into your topic.
Yeah, I'm Wes. That's pretty much it. I'm from ROWVA.
That's not true.
Shout out.
There's so much about you. Like, stop. My name's Wes, and that's about it. That's bullcrap. Because I watched you playing in a jazz band last
So my family's from Oneida, Illinois. We been there for, I think now it's 155 years. Small town in western Illinois. About 700 people. My great-grandfather graduated from Oneida High School. Then my grandfather in 1941, he played jazz clarinet. And then my dad, kind of following his footsteps, played jazz drums. Went to Western for like a half semester, then quit to get a degree in art and specifically fashion. So, long story short, we moved back to the area when I was in like 7th grade.
Don't look at me like that.
Graduated ROWVA, went to Berklee College of Music, got a degree in film scoring and classical composition. Went out to LA for a summer, for a little bit more, and worked in the film industry. Was not for me, so got a degree, went and worked for Sweetwater Sound, designed recording studios for a couple months, more like a year. Then COVID started hitting, so everyone got out, so I rock climbed in Colorado for the next 3 years of my life.
Wow.
Just spent 3 years rock climbing all around. Then I decided I want to get back into music, so I joined the Army bands.
Thanks.
Still in the Army bands, play in a 144th Army National Guard band out of Peoria, Illinois.
Shout out.
Shout out. 144th.
Shout out.
Follow
Thank you for your service.
and follow us.
So I do that. I'm a sergeant in the Army. I really enjoyed that. Then the job opened up at ROWVA for a music teacher. I didn't have a teaching license, so I was like, okay, can't do this. And my dad was like, would you ever teach? And I was like, no way. And then the job opened up. He's like, well, yeah, at least have to apply. That was when Miss Beatty left, and I applied.
Shout out.
Shout out,
Shout out,
Miss
Dana.
Beatty.
Yeah, shout out.
Yeah. So I applied, and then they gave me the job crazily. I told myself I was going to do 1 year of teaching, and then I was going to leave and get my master's, and then go active duty in the Army. I wanted to be full-time in the Army. I love the Army. I love Army bands. They do an awesome job and an awesome service, and there's something really special about playing music for people in the Army. It's sometimes the happiest moment of their lives and sometimes the saddest, but you're doing a service to like some of the most important people, and I think that's a really awesome thing, and I really enjoy that. But
Not to interrupt you, but I'm going to because it's Lisa's podcast.
You have to raise your hand.
I'm sorry. January 20th, all of those service bands
happy birthday.
playing all day long was unbelievable.
Yeah, they did a great job.
Like listening to all of the bands the entire day. You gonna live?
Yeah, I fell in the chair.
Caitlin McCall is here.
Shout out.
Or she shouted out herself.
Shout out, Caitlin McCullough, Orion High School 60-12 choir.
Student Teacher of the Year, 2020.
But anyway, I just the pageantry of our military sometimes gets overlooked, but I just think it's awesome. I mean, I enjoyed listening to all of that stuff all day.
They did a good job
on the 20th, and like those are like professional, like awesome dudes. That you know what I'm saying?
They're our top, instrumentalists. In
You
our
don't get
country.
to play Hail to the Chief for the president if you're not any good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's just crazy to me how talented they are.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny because someone made the comment they felt bad for some of the bands because when Jimmy Carter passed away, they had this whole big 2-hour concert basically, and like when they do like the funerals and stuff, and then they had like the inauguration like a week or two later, so they had to relearn a whole bunch of music.
Well, those two C bands are doing, I think the numbers like a DC band's doing, I think over 500 missions a year, so they at least have 1 or 2 performances a day going on. There's just so much music that they have to perform, and how it works is anyone can request a military band, and it's free, and so these bands are just working nonstop because it's some of the greatest musicians alive working for free, and you can request them.
Yeah.
Contact any of your local National Guard bands; they'd be happy to play.
Shout out.
Shout out National Guard bands.
Shout out. But like they're workers. They work a lot.
That's awesome.
That's good.
That's really, really cool. So,
anyways, yeah. So then I started working at ROWVA. Worked there for a year, and I fell in love with it, and so I decided to stay. And I finished my MAT program at Western this semester.
woohoo! Go Western.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Go next.
Go next.
And, now I'm here. I teach band, junior high band, high school band, junior high choir, high school choir, jazz band, jazz choir, the marching band. And then I co-run the varsity club for fun because I wanted to hang out, I guess. I don't know. That's a good time.
Mm-hmm.
and a big ROWVA supporter. Go Tigers. And Cougars, I guess, were co-op for sport. But I'm a ROWVA Tiger. The athletes like to say the Tigers are dead, but the band and choir is still Tigers, so we're alive. We're strong. And IHSA still regards us as Tigers, so like...
Believe it or not, after all those accomplishments, he still has hair in his head.
Grant Goldstrand yells at me all the time when we're doing football stuff, and I'm like, ROWVA, you're up. We are ROWVA Williamsfield. I'm like, oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, no, he did. At least once a day, he's always like, the Tigers are dead, and I'm like, no, we're not. We're still alive, thriving. Yeah. Funny enough, I just bought some chains
I don't know.
with the ROWVA music logo.
The claws, yeah.
Yeah. What was that?
And we're back. Sorry, guys. I don't quite literally as Wes or transitioning into like the topic, like the icon on the. Apologies, everyone. I don't know what happened. I think it's GarageBand. I think because I can't even open up.
You're using GarageBand?
Yeah. That's how I do it.
You gotta get Logic, man.
Logic. I can't.
Logic educator license is like cheap.
Yeah, I would say GarageBand was just easier to use. And it's like
Logic is like grown up GarageBand.
I know. I probably should use it. I don't. Well, and Audacity too.
Logic is like GarageBand, but it's easier than GarageBand.
Really?
Yeah, because it has all the tools.
Oh, really? Huh. I guess I just just did GarageBand just because I can just see immediately where the audio is going. It's easy visually. Oh, I need to try it.
Logic is literally GarageBand, but it just has more tools that are easier access.
Interesting. All right, I'll have to look into it.
I think they made Logic.
Why don't you just?
That's true.
Why don't you just do what the guy tells you to do instead of arguing with him?
It's our podcast first.
No, it's not.
Lisa's podcast.
Okay,
I'll get permission from her first. So
Yeah.
anyway,
how did it become Lisa's podcast?
I don't. One episode, she got very.
Someone did the math.
She got very possessive.
One of her friends did the math, and they said she's only talking whatever percent.
There was a percentage?
Oh yeah,
Who was timing you guys?
One of her nerd friends.
Yeah, one of her nerd friends.
That is not...
Shout out,
Shout out, Lisa's nerd friend.
Is it on? Are we recording?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
we're recording.
Yeah,
We're recording.
recording.
It's staying in. So yeah.
Hey, shout out nerd friend.
Shout out nerd
Yeah.
friend. Shout out nerd
Wes
friend.
says that every day. Every other word is shout out.
I did say shout out. It's not a joke.
He's a fan.
Guys, that's not a joke.
Shout out.
It's not a joke. I say it now to my kids and they hate it.
Shout out you.
They're like, wait, did you take that from Mr. Anderson? Yeah, I sure did. I
Absolutely.
didn't take it up with
But where did he take it from? Music.
No.
Obvious.
Shout out.
And we aren't the originator. It's very much a Pat McAfee thing.
Right. Shout out, man.
Yeah. Pat McAfee, come on our podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so apologies, guys. I quite literally.
They don't
as we
know.
record- Well,
They
I'm-
don't know. You're not. You're giving that. You're apologizing to our audience when just.
No, there's gonna be a
Because
cut.
there's
Yeah,
gonna
but
be a
it's going to
random
be
cut.
spliced right together.
Right.
It's
No,
not
not
gonna,
evenly though. It's probably not going to work
Maybe you
that
should
way.
do better. Sorry, can we talk to Wes?
I'm trying.
Stop being a whiny baby.
Trying.
Dad's here to talk to you guys.
Anyway,
Shout out.
sorry for the interruptions, but GarageBand wasn't working. Anyway, so going back.
So how much does Lisa talk? Sorry.
No, it's
It was like less than 25%.
Whoa,
it was
guys.
They
apparently.
hate her.
Well, that's why she raises her hand, even though you can't see it yet. You can't see it yet.
How are you gonna see it? You gonna start filming?
But we
We-
see
we-
it. We
yeah,
see
we-
it. I was like, yes, Lisa.
We're working on it.
Really?
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we should
Kid
move
music.
to Logic step one.
Yeah. Okay. Step one.
Step
okay,
one.
Okay. Shut up. Not
Can
that.
step 3 be get stickers?
No, that's not what step 3 is.
Oh,
That's-
stickers are a good idea though.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wes.
I would say contact my wife. She does stickers.
Merch is
Anyway.
good.
Yes. Well, we are working on a store. Actually,
Feels like you guys are working on a lot.
you got that right.
And not getting paid.
Yeah. For a lot of
Working hard or hardly working?
For us, this whole thing is just, we said it in episode 1, it's therapeutic.
Therapeutic.
Because we never get to talk to each other.
Shout out.
Shout out not talking to each other. Shout out isolation.
I don't think that means what he thinks it means.
Yeah.
No, it never does.
Shout out.
So
Inconceivable.
Why?
Now I even forgot what we were.
That happens.
But
That's okay.
like we try to have like certain topics that we talk about. Like, hey, let's talk about this, or Soul Ensemble's coming up, or a Christmas concert, or this.
shout
Or
out.
okay. But it usually ends up here lately just being us talking about our week. 'Cause
Yeah.
we haven't seen each other all week, and then Lisa now got the Lisa list, and
Oh, what's the Lisa list?
Oh, she comes up with
Bunch of
like
stuff that
during
happens
the
during the
week.
week.
She's like, "Ooh, we need to talk about this on the podcast."
Or she'll
And
be
then
like,
we,
I
and then
heard.
we decide whether or not we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because-
Or she heard like last week's episode.
What?
She's like, I wasn't there, so so.
The LL.
Yeah, the LL. Lisa list. You can do it.
culture.
Anyway.
That's Nicole. I feel like we should start our own rival podcast now. I feel
I thought we
like
were gonna start a band.
oh, we were gonna start a band.
Rival podcast.
So I guess
Good
we're not
name
the
for
only
a
ones that got a
band.
lot of things to do around here.
Music made.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You're right.
Is that the podcast name?
Yes.
Okay, sorry guys.
Make,
Sorry. Shut up.
making in the music.
Music made. Check.
1,
Anyway.
2, 3, go.
We've already made it.
Sorry, it's already happened.
Take
Anyway,
culture.
Copyright.
Wesley. Also, Caitlin's here. We didn't get to that because that was
Happy
in the middle
birthday,
of like
Caitlin
happy
Nicola.
birthday.
Caitlin Nicola.
Yeah, shout out.
Shut up.
24. Big
32
24.
years
Big
old today.
2-4.
Just a baby.
2-4 and the 2-5.
What?
It's the year 2025.
24.
Keep up.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, keep up. Come on. Shout out. Come on.
Shout out.
This is like, it's my birthday. It's my birthday.
Anyway, so content over culture. You emailed us about
Nope.
this.
Culture over.
Culture before
gotta get
content.
straight
Sorry. A lot happening. This is not our normal like thing that's happening with. Anyway. So Wesley, the floor is yours. Like,
You
so
see why Lisa doesn't get to
Yeah,
talk?
no, I get the vibe.
Okay.
Lisa, I stand in solidarity.
we're back. Okay.
Okay,
so
sorry about that, guys.
It's okay. No, it's okay. Wesley recreated the track incident that happened like our 5th or 6th episode one night. It's like, Lisa, let's have you talk. I moved the mic and then it cuts out, and then it was of course right before Lisa talked. So I don't know if I don't know if it's like a safety feature or like what with this microphone, but it's like as soon as like you touch it, it just like moves. So
Lisa, I just was saying that I really agreed with Team Lisa. Lisa's list. Go, Lisa.
anyway, okay. Before, no, nobody touching mics. No one moving computers. No one to move. We're just gonna talk.
Can we
About-
talk to Wesley about what he wants to talk
Yes,
about?
I'm trying to get there. Go. Action. Go. Talk about the culture before content. There we go. What does that mean to you? You reached out to us. What does that mean to you?
I just totally stole that idea, actually. There's a great podcast from Music for Arts, like the people who run BOA and stuff.
Music in the making. Yeah, we
Yeah,
heard,
yeah,
we heard
yeah.
about it.
So they have a segment called Culture Before Content. Yeah, Music in the Making. Do you know that podcast?
Yeah.
Is that a rival podcast? Am I allowed to say that on here?
Yeah. It's fine this time.
Oh,
You're on
okay.
thin ice. Come up.
Anyways, like when I started teaching music, I didn't have a teaching license, and so like I was like, I really don't know what to do to like create an ensemble or to do this, but I knew how it worked in the professional world, and I just came from like a year of straight of Army training, and something that I was very impressed with in the Army is like they get everything down to less complicated and the most simple thing, and the most simple thing is people, and something I felt like I'm a big believer in all jobs, not just teaching, is like 50% of the job is the people, and 50% of the job is what actually the job is. Whether that's you're an engineer, whether you're an accountant, whether you're in the arts, whether you're in anything, 50% of the job is the people and learning how to do that, and 50% of the job is actually doing and having the skill in what you're doing. So when I got to ROWVA, one thing that I wanted to spend basically most of my time on is culture. How do we create a culture here of what I want it to be? So what I did was I came up with my guideline. So I have my rules. I have 3 rules at ROWVA. Show up, have a good attitude, and have fun. And those rules are repeated every single class, every rehearsal, the first thing we do. Everyone says those rules out, and I have them pulled up on the board. And before every ensemble, and this is across all of our ensembles, not just my groups, the Winter Guard, the marching band, jazz bands, choir, all that. So we have those 3 rules that everyone has to live by. So showing up, it doesn't just mean like showing up in person, but it means showing up like ready to work, ready to do your best. Have a good attitude, can't be rude, can't be doing things. And have fun. The big thing with that is no energy vampires. We talk about that a lot. And then I have a set of rules and guidelines for leaders. If you're a leader in our music program, or if you're a leader within what we do, we, number 1, lead through positivity. Number 2, we take ownership over our mistakes. And number 3, we have school spirit. So basically how I get kids into music, roar entire. But basically that means is like no matter what, you have to follow the 3 rules. But if you want to do outstanding things here, and if you want to be a leader, you have to do those 3 things. And kind of everything fundamentally goes down to that. So we end up having a lot of time talking to student leaders and how everyone's a leader. Now we do have like specific rules. I have a jazz band president, and I have marching band drum majors and section leaders. And then same thing in choir. We have section leaders in choir. And all my choirs, junior high, high school, jazz choir, we all have section leaders. But we kind of split up these rules and think a lot about the culture that we want to have and how we want to do things. And that comes down to how we take our first step is something we talk about as our culture, how we get excited for something, like things that are very ROWVA. There's a prime beef parade. When I was at ROWVA, it was like a 31-year streak of winning that. So like something that we take a lot of culture in is we want to win prime beef every year. Culture in what we want to do in our shows, culture in how we do things like that. Everything comes down to culture. And then we can talk about the content. It's a lot easier to talk to a kid about, hey, we need you to learn the scale, or hey, we need you to practice being in tune, when they understand the why. And the why for us is our culture, what we want to do. We want to be excellent. We want to be something. You know, our jazz band, something we talk about is we want to be one of the best jazz band groups, not just in high school, but in college. And that's the culture we have. So how do we do that? We have to put in that effort all the time. It starts with our 3 rules. We got to show up, have a good attitude, and have fun.
That's interesting. I guess, like, when I think, well, I mean, the culture part, I understand that. Like when you walk into your band room, like, do you, like, literally, Wes, when you walk into your band room, like, are you looking for, like, everyone getting along, or is it like you're looking for everyone is just like everyone's their individual self, they have their close friends, but when it comes to like maybe the product or whatever the goal is, everyone's at least agreeing on it, or like everyone's gung-ho 100%, we're all in on this. Like, I guess when you're talking about this culture of when you're working towards whatever, so like say prime beef, like what, I guess when you go into your band and when you go into a rehearsal, what are you seeing that's actually happening?
Step one with culture is everyone has to know their role. Like if your team doesn't know their role, my room is always torn down. Every student helps sets up their own part, and everyone has a job and something they like have to do. So when I walk in, so say passing period, it comes to high school marching band. I go out in the hallway, and the kids, when they come in passing period, no chairs are down, no stands are down, nothing's going on. On the board, I have exactly what we're doing that day, and the kids start getting things ready. So when I walk into my room, everything is going on. So kids are setting up chairs, kids are setting up stands in the right spot. They see on the board if it's a jazz band or a pep band or whatever's going on. They know what songs we're playing. They're starting to put their music in order, and they're starting to get things done. If someone's missing, section leaders are starting to figure out what's going on, who's missing, what's going there. And then if it's like a solo and ensemble prep day, section leaders are checking in with their group. It's always trying to know your role. And so that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, does everyone know their role? Does everyone know what they're doing? Is everyone helping each other attack that? Now, if somebody's not knowing what doing their role, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody who's goofing around or not doing really the right thing, not showing up for the team. That's what I think about a lot. And then going on the culture, I'm checking in that people are checking in with their teammates. Hey, you need help that's something I really emphasize. Hey, you know what needs to be done, and you know the person next to you's role, and you know the person on the other side of your role. If they need help, why aren't you helping them? Like, that's part of who we're here. We're not going to be good unless we all help each other out. We all can't be perfect. So I'm looking for that. Hey, this person's struggling. Why aren't you helping them already? That expectation, I think, is also really important.
So when you first came to ROWVA, did you feel like that was sort of already established? Do you feel like, no, like this isn't established, but I know for the betterment of the program, this is what I have to do?
When I came to ROWVA, it was a little tough. I was the first person to do my job, so they switched it up. It used to be a band person, and then all the way down to like band would do some elementary. Then there's a choir person, and they do some elementary. So Katie Reddington, my counterpart in the elementary, shout out. She does a fantastic job. They changed the rules when we applied. So I teach just junior high and high school, and she teaches just junior high. I mean, just elementary school. So I do all the band and choir.
God bless her.
Yeah, she's great. She's fantastic at it.
Because, yuck.
But it was really changed because the band year before I showed up was, I think, 25, and there was 15 seniors. And so when I showed up, there was like 8 kids who had been in band at all before. And so it was really like building things from the ground up. Also, that first year, I'm not sure if you guys knew this, I got the job, and then I left for Army training for all summer. I showed up the second week of school. So I got the job. I had a week to rearrange the show. So we repicked the show, wrote the drill. I sent it to all the kids. We didn't do a band camp that year. We didn't do anything. And I showed up the second week of classes, and we started doing everything. So that first year was really just like everything was on the fly.
Yeah.
And so we kind of just built everything. So when I showed up, I got off the flight for my military training, and at 3 o'clock, and the first performance of the ROWVA Marching Tigers was that Friday night at 5 p.m. And we did it. We played the national anthem. I showed up, we rehearsed for an hour, and then we performed. And then that weekend, I spent the whole weekend reorganizing the band room. So if you were ever at ROWVA before, I've changed everything. So that year was spent a lot of time just kind of reorganizing things and creating those habits that we have now, and just trial and error. So you can ask a lot of those kids. All those kids are seniors now, the sophomore class that were really bought in. they were all seniors now, and it's been a huge change. Every year we change and do things, but that's kind of where we got to. Those 3 rules, though, that was still day one. Those rules were show up, have a good attitude, have fun, and we kind of just grew upon those of building the personal responsibility.
Yeah.
And every year we added, like the first year I couldn't be like, why aren't you checking in on your teammate? It's more like, okay, it's personal ownership, and then year 2, okay, let's start checking in on our teammates. How can we help them? And then year 3, it's, hey, if you see someone not doing something right, you call them out. So it's just kind of growing that over time.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think at MR, like I have never been in a environment like that where I'm trying to establish something like that. I mean, I think for MR we could always use something like that. You know, we have just so many different backgrounds of people that, you know, when it comes to rehearsal, like they'll sit down and rehearse, but it's like I don't want them to just simply do that. I want them to just make it feel like this is my job. Like this is my as a student, your job is to go to school, and your work is to you go to your classes and stuff, right? And I think for what you're doing over at ROWVA is really neat, where especially during the marching season, there's just so much stuff that like we have to use for rehearsal. You know, to get outside, get your instrument, and for everyone to be very clear with what their individual job is, and or if they're in a leadership position, to have those responsibilities on top of those responsibilities is pretty unique. So I would imagine by the sounds of it, you don't really have to lift a finger much because your kids know exactly what to do all the time.
I mean, I still do a lot of random heavy lifting. There's problems every day. There's kids missing.
Well, yeah, sure, right. Well, I mean,
and we also keep in mind, ROWVA's not just me. Kelsey Wick's my guard instructor. She teaches in my band class all first semester because she's teaching guard, and then I have an assistant band director, Michelle, who helps me out too.
Sure.
But we're always helping doing random things. Some kid's got a problem with an instrument. There's always something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I find it, as you were going through your rules and stuff, I'm like, I have one classroom rule, and it sets. I feel like we have a good culture. I feel like we have a good climate and culture with our music program, but gone about it in a completely different way, because I have one rule: don't be stupid, and it covers everything. Right, and so I guess that different perspective of somebody 20 years younger than me getting the same result, just like mine comes off a little more negative, right? And yours is very, very positive, which I think as an older teacher, that's something I constantly have to be reminding myself of, is these kids are motivated differently than I was. You know, a football coach or music teacher scare the hell out of me, and that would make me do better. I've found this generation that doesn't work as well. It's kill them with kindness, or what, you know.
Yeah,
you've got to be a little more, way more positive reinforcement.
I think it depends. I also like. I mean, I think sometimes I'm positive reinforcement, but also sometimes you got to call it like a very common saying in my classroom that I will tell a student is like, hey, we just got to toughen up and do more work. And like I think that like you have to build up to that though. You can't just say that to like little Johnny on his second day of band camp. Well, like, you just toughen up, man. You just got to figure it out. Like, that's not going to work. But I still think kids this generation are tough. You just got to pull it out of them. I also feel like when I showed up to teaching, the first year, 3 years, was a lot more kill with kindness. And now I feel like the kids crave, to me, the culture we have is they crave being hardened. Like, after rehearsal, all kids come up to me and say, hey, I don't think I played that good. What do you think? And I'd be like, well, I think you did fine. They're like, no, tell me to me straight. What do I need to improve? And I think that is also part of your culture. Kids, and that takes time, and also not every kid will get there. Like, I think that's true, but there's also I got 5 or 10 high achievers who I can just say like, hey, I know you can do better, toughen up, and like dig deep and work on that, and they will. I don't think that's gone from teaching. I don't. I think you just got to find those kids.
Sure.
I heard a football coach say this once, and I really thought it was true. You got to treat each kid the best to get the most out of them, and that's a lot of the keys to like building that.
Yeah, to get on a larger philosophical, it's almost like everybody has their own IEP, right? For, you know, what I need and expect out of Wes is different than what I expect out of art, and you've got to know that. And when you're when you have an ensemble of 40, 50, 60, whatever kids, you've got to have that. I feel relationship building is the biggest key.
Yeah,
right.
And that's like such a buzzword, but I agree.
No. And I think establishing relationships with all of your kids so that they trust you. Then they're going to do whatever it takes to get better. Like, and that's what's been very helpful for me, and I think Caitlin can attest to this, is having my 2 younger daughters in class. Like, I talk like a 17-year-old girl. Like, I use the phrases that they use, and they think it's endearing and they think it's funny. But it's just, for me, it's not, because I think they sound stupid. On bro, on,
On God.
On God.
On God, she ate that down.
Yeah. 4 plus 4.
Shout out, all those weird
Yeah.
stuff.
Who would
So,
say shout out?
That's weird.
as silly as that may seem, but it puts me on their level and they trust me more because of building that relationship. And I think that is the key. There's a million ways to get there.
Yeah, I agree.
I think if you've got to, I've always said you have to invest in kids so they'll invest in you. And I'm pretty sure we've had this, Caitlin and I had this, every student teacher I have this conversation with. Go to their basketball games. Go to their volleyball games.
Yeah.
Go to their scholastic bowl meets. Show up and they'll be like, oh, well, Mr. Anderson's here. He cares that I'm in scholastic bowl, or whatever it is. And then they start like, well, I want to see what this guy's all about. And they show up for your class. And then you find out that they can actually freaking sing. And away you go.
Yeah.
Very neat. I was saying, I know I'm sure there's a lot of schools out there that when you take this approach, it's interesting too, because like the way that you're describing the things that what these kids should be doing and whatnot are very reminiscent of like what day one in a classroom every year is. And I think for some schools, like maybe for like junior highs and whatnot, for sure, like that day one is always so important about like establishing what your role is, right, as a student. For us high school people with marching band, of course, day one kind of starts before even school happens, but even then, it's still, like, it's really important to create that sense of what your job is during rehearsal, what your job is during class, when it's, like, not marching band or, like, we're inside or whatever. And it's kind of neat to, like, hear that the success you've had with your program just by taking that time to cultivate and to create that culture of what you want, what everything should be done all the way each day.
Yeah, I also think that goes back to how you do one thing is how you do everything. Like you were saying, I think there's this weird thing in music education where like you want to do something super awesome, so you kind of skip some easier steps. And like I think part of that culture is we're gonna spend a lot of time showing up and doing the basics. Like, hey, how you set up your chair in your stand is important. How you have a pencil in your seat. And sometimes, like, I think everyone has this habit when you're teaching. You get away from that because you're like, I really want to work on this.
What's a pencil?
Yeah.
But, like, those fundamental things, like, if you always grill in that, like, my kids, we do an articulation page every day in my band class. And I spend time, if we cannot play quarter notes together right with a staccato and a legato or a tenuto marking, then we're going to stop and do it again. Like, everything has to be good. If we can't do the basics, we can't do the great stuff. And that, like, I think a lot of that comes from the marching band world. You look at like these drum corps or these top DOA programs, and just the amount of time they spend on the simplest thing, and everyone does it together. And I think you can apply that to every program, like in your group. With my choir, I used to do this. I'd just be like, okay, like half the kids are doing well, and like I can move on now or whatever, blah blah blah. But no, let's just grill it. How do we create this vowel shape on this one part and really nail it? I think culture is the willingness of the kids to be like, no, we don't do it that way. We do it this way. And I think once you get that, and once you get kids starting to buy into the culture or the group or what you stand for, then good things happen.
No, absolutely.
And it's grows because it's not just you.
Right. And I think to maybe clarify this further, what we mean by culture is like, what does your room look like? You know, for each ensemble or each rehearsal or that you have. But I think you're hitting like the main point of like what makes culture the way it is.
I want to stop a little
Yeah,
bit.
go ahead.
I don't think it's what it looks like. I think it's what it feels like. What does it feel
sure.
like to be in that room? What does it feel like to be a member of the ensemble? What does it feel like to be walking around your town and to tell somebody I'm in the band or I'm in the choir? What does it feel like when you tell a friend in high school I'm in the band in your school? I think about that a lot. I think a lot about what does it feel like to be a kid, to walk in my doors and to walk out, and what that message goes around to everybody else. And what do they feel, and what they feel when they leave that room. Do they feel like they accomplished something? Do they feel like they were a part of something? Do they feel like they did the fundamentals well? Or do they feel like we skipped over this basic stuff, he didn't really care about what I was doing, he didn't really care about what I was doing, blah, blah, blah. Or I'm going to be held accountable to what I do, so I'm going to hold that standard. And when I held that standard, we did well at blah, blah, blah. Or my family heard me, or my friends saw that, and they did good. The football players go up to my bandkins every time they play an away game. They're like, you know what's crazy? You guys play the best national anthem. And like that simple stuff though. Like, what does it feel like? Is that's the true culture.
Yeah.
And that you can't ever know until you put in hours. And like you're never gonna know until it's too late. But constantly being aware of the feeling that your students have.
Yeah.
My daughter
that's a good
Emma,
point.
a couple years ago, like, I'm a pretty competitive guy, right, with football and track, but I'm competitive when it comes to music too. Like, and competitive amongst ourselves, like how much better can we get? But talking to your point of how do kids feel about, hey, I'm a part of this. I think it was 2 years ago at Solon Ensemble, and I saw Emma walking. I'm like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "I love this." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "This is our home field, and everybody knows we're gonna win. Like, this is what we do. You're in our place watching us win everything." Like, she just, and it was just, I'd never had thought, like, yes, I like hosting Solon Ensemble. I'd never have really thought of it as a home field advantage for our kids. But they apparently that's a thing they felt. Like, when we host, it gives them I don't know what the word is, but like I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, holy cow! I didn't.
Yeah, you walk into Monmouth Roseville for Solon Ensemble, you see those trophies.
Yes, sir.
We kind of purposely do that. we might set them out on purpose.
There
We
might be
might set them out on
someone's idea.
purpose.
Someone's
But
idea.
like, yeah, and it's awesome to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Like, that whether you built it or, you know, whether you became a part of it, it just, you know, it's something I really love, that I'm part of the Monmouth Roseville Music Department, and everybody knows what that means, and there's a lot of pride in that. So hopefully, I think our kids feel the same way. I think most all of them do, but yeah, I think because at the end of the day, you're trying to make music together, and that's supposed to be a beautiful thing. I get wrapped up into not only the Solon Ensemble, the organizational competition side of it. I get wrapped up in the competition amongst ourselves. Like, how much better can we be? This wasn't good. This isn't as good. Let's make it better. Rather than, you know what, you guys, and there have been days this year, they get done singing, I look at them, I go, I hate you guys. Because they can freaking sing anything. Like this, there's going to be a lot of kids mad at me, but this might be the best group we've ever had.
Wow.
Like, they're amazing. I give them, and they learn a piece in 2 days. Like, you don't do that. Nobody does that. But it's a good place to be. We have built a climate and a culture that I think our kids are very, very proud of, and it sounds like you're doing the same thing at ROWVA.
Well, we don't really know. We're trying every day. We make a lot of mistakes every week, every hour.
So
And we learn and we move on.
Programs, though.
Yeah, we change a lot. Yeah, we're just trying to always get closer and closer. I always think of teaching as like teaching music is kind of like sculpting, and like every year you just get a little closer to what your final is going to be. And then sometimes you got to scrap it and rework the arm or whatever. You're getting closer and closer. Yeah, we're hopefully getting closer.
Culture over content. Before culture.
Write it down.
Content.
Hey, I'm just still a fan of Lisa's list. I feel like I should say that now.
I
Miss
in a
McCullough, we'll have
lecture.
Lisa on our podcast, and she can talk
Yeah.
50% of the time.
Yes.
Making in the
We're
music.
gonna give her so much airtime.
You do what you want to do.
Okay.
I don't care. Are we good?
I think so.
I need to go get my badge.
Thanks,
Wes,
guys.
is there anything
No,
else you want to
no.
talk about?
No, thank you. Shout out NR. Also, big shout out, honestly, for hosting Solo Ensemble and being so kind and helpful. I think I called Kevin this year like 3 times with random stupid questions, and he's always been kind and sincere, and he doesn't have to. So
None of your questions are dumb.
Also, big shout
Just
out
mine though when I
to
call.
Art and Lisa. I love the MR Marching Band Prime Beef Strong, United Knoxville, Monmouth Roseville. My favorite day of the year, Prime Beef
It's
Marching Band.
a good time
It is the greatest day of the year.
when it's
Art.
not 90 degrees.
It's all he thinks
I
about.
think it's fantastic.
Last year
every single-
we were blessed with good weather.
Oh,
It was
it
like
was
80.
awesome.
I don't get it.
You don't get prime beef?
No,
it's the greatest day of the year.
Parades suck.
Oh no. Well, you don't know how to do it then.
No, I don't want to. They just suck.
Here's
I
what we-
hated them.
Here's what we do. We
You're
drink a
going
bunch.
wrong
I
parade.
buy a bunch of Gatorade in buckets. The kids drink it the day before. The day of, we eat a massive lunch together as a group, and then we just keep guzzling Gatorades. You show up, you march, you sweat it all out, and then you go to a fair, Kevin. You go to the fair, and you get to eat all this junk
dog,
food. Oh my
apple
gosh.
cider slushy,
Kids are like over there,
pork
like getting their
chop.
stomachs hurt, but they're just like, this is the greatest day ever.
But it's at least they had electrolytes at lunch.
Well,
It's over
lunch.
now. They don't go to march anymore.
I know, it's
I-
No more
fantastic.
uniforms.
We did, when I was in high school, we did the whatever Canton Fall Festival. And I kid you not, it's like a 2.5 mile parade. It
How long's
was
prime beef?
awful. And I was at a sousaphone. It sucked.
Prime beef feels worse because of the hills.
Oh, prime beef hills are always deceptive. Every year, though, lately, we stop. Do you stop? That's a big thing we've been doing. So we'll go, and then we'll stop for like a minute and let the cars get ahead, and then we'll just give all the kids Gatorade
We
stuff.
stop to perform at houses that pay us to stop.
Oh, yeah, there's that one person who does it.
We had
Yeah, Mary Kelly gives
There's
$100
like-
bucks.
I
Well,
love
there's a
Mary
few.
Kelly.
There's
She
a few
goes
of
to my
them.
church.
She's at least the first. I think she's the first house, but then we've had 2 or 3 other
She's
houses.
the white one right across the
Yeah.
street. Yeah.
Yeah, we've
And
had-
she goes to my church.
I always forget the houses,
She's awesome.
and then like I always get someone like, "Hey, that person was yelling at me." I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We try.
Yeah, it's all right.
No, we stop. That's also like a key pro tip. Just stop, let the things get ahead. Because half the time the kids are marching so small, and then like we just give all the kids Gatorade. There's like 4 of us next to them, give them Gatorade for like a minute.
Here's my theory, or here's my.
Welcome to Prime Beef Talk.
Yeah,
This
okay.
is really the best part of the podcast.
See, that's probably a different.
It's so to me it's so
podcast.
interesting. Like your demeanor changed when we started talking about prime beef.
I love prime. I love
Like,
marching. I
and
love
to me.
prime beef is a ROWVA thing.
Okay,
When I was
even though it's a Monmouth thing.
when I was a
in
freshman,
Monmouth.
Kevin, I was 14 years old. I showed up to band camp day 1, and all the kids said to me, "All you got to do is win prime beef. We're 31 years strong. If you lose it, you're a loser, and everyone in ROWVA will remember that forever." And I was like, "Oh my God!" 14-year-old Wes thought he was gonna die.
And then that's when you say, "Well, wait. If I lose, doesn't that mean you
Yeah,
lose?"
that's also yeah.
Isn't
I'll
that-
never forget my freshman
So
year.
you're a loser, too.
Some kid got out of step for 5 minutes of the parade, and then we were back in step the rest. At the end of the parade, the seniors like I've never seen them rip into. I mean, that's bad culture. Like that's not really what you want. Kids screaming at each other, but like it's been ingrained in us for like generations at this point. Like people's parents are like, "Prime beef, let's go."
Beef.
I feel like
I hate because everybody is in my yard and they leave trash and
You should charge, Kevin.
yeah, you can't do
Hey,
that.
if I give you some yard signs that say "Go Roll the Tigers," can I?
I would put them in there.
Okay.
Hey, no
they
way.
clean it up. They clean up your trash probably.
Oh, they probably throw more trash on yours.
MR people will probably toilet paper your house.
They do that too.
Yeah, they're gonna do that regardless.
That was
That's
just
true.
weird because I hate parades,
I love parade.
and I'm glad you do. And people, some
beef,
people have
prime
to
beef.
love parades
Well, I don't love all parades. I love prime beef.
because
Labor Day's solid.
where do
Gel-
you do Galesburg
Yeah,
Labor
we
Day?
do Galesburg Labor Day. They try to get me to do Veterans Day, but I'm always gone for the Army, and they're like, "We really thought ROWVA was going to support the troops," and I'm like, "Guys, I'm like on Army orders that day. I
I'm
can't-
literally the troops.
I can't.
I
be
am
there."
the troops.
I didn't know what to say to him.
We have never done a Veterans Day anything.
It's cold.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like some schools have stuff
junior
that
high.
they do.
Junior high brings in the American Legion.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah,
we don't
high
play,
school.
though.
I've never been asked to have my kids sing at any Veterans Day stuff.
We should do like a 4th of July summer thing with just like.
No.
You guys have community band in Monmouth, don't you? Or no?
We used to.
Well, no, we
I
do.
think we
I
still
don't play
do.
in it though, because I haven't been using it in Macomb.
Yeah, there's the Macomb. Yeah.
Municipal band, but
Sorry, welcome to the part of the podcast where we just talk about local band events in Western Illinois.
it's okay. We actually have to wrap it up because we got to go to
There
the
you
rock
go.
band.
I gotta get my badge.
Well, but Wesley, thank you for your time. We'll obviously have you on again in the future.
Maybe.
I love being on the Lisa's List podcast.
There you go. I'll say Lisa's list appreciates. Shout out to Lisa and her list.
Remember all that stuff we talked about before? The podcast?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Forget it.
All right.
Forget it.
I was like that fun.
Thank you. Thanks, Wesley. Appreciate it. And thank you, Kidder, for everything.
Happy birthday, Caitlin.
Happy birthday, Caitlin.
Shout out Kidder, my
buy-
supplier.
Yep, exactly. Shout out Kidder. Buy all your IMEC stuff before it's too late because this is day 2 and we only have a couple more hours before the gala closes and you don't want to lose on those
No,
discounts.
they're
Buy your
open
stuff.
tomorrow. Shut up. You're dumb. They're open
A few
tomorrow.
more hours though.
Is this podcast going up today?
Yeah, probably not. But we'll see. I'm gonna try, but we'll see. Go next.
If my
Go
mom
roll
listens to this, shout out mom. Also,
Shout
shout out
out.
my dad.
Shout out, Mrs.
Mr.
Mrs. Wesley's mom.
Anderson.
No, Mrs.
Shout out
Mrs. Wesley's
Wesley's
mom.
mom.
Love you, Jenny.
There you go. There you go.
Ooh.
Girl.
Girl, bye.